Welcome everyone. I'm Ramina Yusuf from ZILLIONe Technologies and I will be the host for today. Thank you for joining us today's webinar on your busy schedule. Uh, today we are presenting to you the latest Teams features and updates that have been included to provide you with added value. Before we begin, I would like to introduce Sujan Suresh, our director, to welcome you all and speak a few words. Over to you, Sujan.
Thank you, Ramina. And good morning, everyone. Ramina, can you please confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, loud and clear, Sujan.
Right. And please let me know when you can see my screen as well.
Yes, Sujan, we can.
Great. Thank you. So, a very good morning to you all, everyone. Thank you very much again for taking the time to join us during your busy schedule. While I'm sure you're excited to see all the new features about Teams that we want to present today, I would like to take a few minutes to run you through the hybrid work paradox, which is going to be the new thing that is going to come to us very soon as we all get back to work once the COVID pandemic eases up, and how Microsoft Teams can help you with this. So, what is the hybrid work paradox? The hybrid work paradox, when I define it, it's going to be where employees want to go back to work and be in person in office, but also they want more flexible working hours. I will show you some stats about this in a second. What and this quote here, short-term productivity goes up and long-term creativity goes down. This is what is the outcome based on multitude of surveys done globally over the last year and a half. I'm sure all of you all may have even noticed within your own companies that employee productivity has actually gone up, and so has customer satisfaction in most cases. However, what we are not seeing today is the long-term impact on creativity this is going to have. And some of the side effects of this are already showing. An example I'd like to take is it really depends on the job function and job role that you do that will benefit from either working from anywhere or working in person or working from home. In an industry such as Netflix, where they need their creative writers to come up with new ideas, come up with uh, new shows, come up with new campaigns. They are pushing all of the employees to come back to work, and the employees actually prefer it this way because that's a role and that's an industry in which creativity plays a key role. However, there are certain functions in all of our companies and offices that don't require collaboration, that can be performed in a silo, such as an accounts executive who simply has to process invoices and billings, or a customer service executive who can work from the comfort of their home without any problem because they are only dealing with one customer and they're solving their problems. So it'll really depend on your job function and job role, which area is better for you to work in. And even take it more relevant to our own practices and our own industries. Coming up with a new project idea, coming up with a new project plan, coming up with a new marketing campaign for a product or service launch. All of this requires creativity. However, some of the other work we do does not. So here are some numbers from Microsoft's annual Work Trend Index survey done in March 2021. 80% of managers say they expect more flexible work from home policies post-pandemic. 73% of employees want flexible work options to stay. And 67% of employees want more in-person work or collaboration post-pandemic. So you can see the real paradox here, right? The real paradox is people want to work more in person, but they also want to work more from home. The reason we are seeing this is because of those different job functions and different job roles that I spoke about earlier. So what that really means is The one size fits all approach we were taking with the 9 to 5 workday and 5-day a week workday that has, I think, existed for close to 100 years now globally is about to come under some real pressure. This is another extremely interesting quote from Judson Althoff. He's the EVP of Worldwide Commercial Business at Microsoft. If I can read from the site for a moment. It's not only employee expectations that have fundamentally changed. Customer expectations have too. Curbside pickup once seemed novel, but now it's expected. Customers will want to enjoy both the conveniences they have grown used to and the in-person experiences they have missed, all within operational constraints. It won't be easy, but the opportunity for every business is to get this mix right. And for me, the key part of it is the opportunity for every business to get this mix right. While this presents us with a challenge, not just in terms of customer experience, but also employee experience. Employees don't want to be forced into our definition of when they can work anymore. However, for corporates and companies that are willing to take on this challenge and provide this flexibility, I believe will give us an edge over our competition, an edge in the industry. And that's a new opportunity, if seized properly, will give us a leg up. How do you do this though? Based on another Microsoft survey and some other global surveys from McKinsey, there are three major areas of change you will need to address in order to facilitate this hybrid work change. People, places, and processes. When it comes to people, there are three main areas they recommend we focus on: social capital, knowledge capital, and human capital. What does this really mean? Social capital is the goodwill we give our employees and customers in certain cases by allowing them to work in a more flexible manner, allow for more in-person meetings, allow for more remote meetings, that sort of thing, where we don't force them to work at our pace, but at their own pace as long as we get the required outcome. Knowledge capital is providing more opportunity for learning. Over the last year and a half, we have seen a massive surge in learning platforms such as LinkedIn Learning, Udemy, Skillsoft, and Coursera, allowing our employees access to these sort of platforms and even our own in-house LMS systems and focusing on their learning and their growth will help us to really work through this hybrid work paradox as well. And the last is just human capital. Human capital is when is focusing on an employee's well-being and the employee's experience. In fact, most surveys have identified, and actually it's common sense to anyone who has worked from a remote setting over the last year and a half, back-to-back meetings really burn you out and really stress you out because you don't even have 1 second between meetings because sometimes another meeting has started before your last meeting has finished. So we want to ensure we provide employees and the tools and the practices to make sure that we don't put them under so much pressure. What this means is, so for example, you have tools like Viva Insights and My Analytics as part of the Microsoft ecosystem that give you weekly and monthly insights for individuals and for managers to see how their team is doing, how many meetings have they gone to, are we meeting the same people across multiple meetings over and over again. All of these insights and this sort of information will allow us to optimize our processes and ensure that we reduce this sort of burnout. The second area we focus on is places. This is again extremely important. We need to provide flexibility to people in where they work, provide flexibility to people in when they work, and provide a space that is virtual or physical for collaboration. What employers and employees have realized over the last year and a half is, sometimes I really don't need to go into office all that much. I'm very productive from home. I'm getting all my work done. However, there will definitely be instances where you miss that physical or that human interaction. And that's where I think a lot of companies today are focusing on areas such as creating more huddle rooms and more hot seat concept where you don't have a permanent place, but you can go into office or go into a physical space whenever you want. And even providing the flexibility of employees, you don't need to work from just Colombo anymore. They can work from their hometowns in, be it Jaffna, Kandy, Dumbledore, wherever it is, and maybe perform the same job role just as effectively. Other thing is sometimes to maybe parents, maybe they want to spend more time with their kids, so maybe they will do that during the day and the afternoon hours and work more in the evening and night hours. All of these practices and processes will allow us to gain employee goodwill and improve our own experience. And as you know, having a platform like Microsoft Teams and the whole M365 ecosystem will allow you to seamlessly switch to these sort of practices and these sort of processes with minimal hassle. Even when it comes to the physical space, we have solutions like Teams meeting rooms, which which make which do their very best to ensure people in the room and people remotely have access to the same data, same information, and are hearing the same thing during meetings. The last area I will focus on is processes. Every single business process will be affected when it comes to the hybrid shift or the hybrid working shift, from finance to IT to sales to marketing to customer services to HR. Every single process. However, having the right tools and having the right practices along with those tools will allow us to manage this change effectively and define or redefine these new processes to ensure minimal impact to the business and essentially our work. But the most important thing is information security. I think the days of company VPNs and physical borders are long gone when we want employees to work effectively from home. So this is where information security has really come to the forefront. And I think it's no secret that it's over the last year and a half, the number of hacks and the number of intrusions and privacy breaches have gone up. That is all because a lot more data has become available and open. So this is where the benefit of working on a Microsoft ecosystem and a platform such as Teams, where we start off with basic security and you can configure policies to be extremely as strict or as open as you want them to, all the while staying secure, such as the zero trust security concept which we have spoken about in the past, will really give you the confidence to allow your employees and your customers to reach out to you when and where they want while having the confidence that your data is secure. So this was a little snapshot into why working on Microsoft Teams and Microsoft ecosystem and ensuring that you utilize its latest features and the latest solutions and functionality offered by it is going to be so important, especially over the next 6 months to a year, as we all make this shift to hybrid working if we want to stay relevant. So thank you very much, and I will hand it over back to Ramina to proceed with the rest of the webinar. Hope you have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujan, for the warm welcome. The demonstration would be presented by Kanchuka Viranga, our tech lead. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your control panel. I'll bring them up during the presentation, and we will also have time for questions and answers session at the end. Now, without further ado, let us turn our attention over to Kanchuka, our presenter today, to deliver the demonstration for the latest Microsoft Teams features and updates. Over to you, Kanchuka.
Yeah, hi, thank you, Ramina. So I hope I'm loud and clear.
Yes, Kanchika.
Okay, right. Thank you. So good morning, everyone. So we'll be discussing Microsoft Teams and a little bit SharePoint. So I know that you all have been using Teams, and you know majority of the functions, the basic functions. And then what we want to discuss is like how you can improve on that a little bit, especially during the meetings. And then I will discuss a little about Microsoft Teams as your phone. We call it Teams calling. So we'll discuss about that too. Then finally, we'll move on to SharePoint and discuss about how you can adapt SharePoint and what are the benefits of SharePoint and how you can use it. So moving on, we'll discuss about the agenda. So this is actually our agenda. So Teams, a little bit of overview. Meetings in Microsoft Teams. So what are the features that you can use in Microsoft Teams meetings? And then a little bit on live events. And then we'll discuss about the phone system a little bit. And then SharePoint. So I will straight away go into my demonstration environment. I hope you all can see my screen. Ramina, can you see the screen?
Yes, Kanchika, visible.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Uh, so now in Teams, we do know that we have a lot of features, activity, chat, Teams, calendar, calls. There are so many functions, file sharing and everything, but I'm not going to discuss about them because I think majority of the people out here, they are using most of the features, so we don't want to go into that. So first of all, what I'll do is I have a pre-scheduled meeting in my calendar. So what I'll do is I'll straight away log into that. So I'll say join. Now you know that when we are joining, it will ask me to whether the audio setup and the video setup what I want to use. So here I'm going to mute my mic because I don't want like to switch on my mic and join a meeting. And for the time being, I'll turn off my video as well. So I will join the meeting. So I can see already a few people are here. So this new Teams meeting environment, you have the show participants. So we had this before. We had show conversation. We had this before as well. But one thing very new is, let's say if I'm running late to a meeting, if I send a message, sometimes before previously I was little worried that people in this meeting wouldn't see this message. But now whenever you send a message like that to the meeting chat group, it'll instantly pop up and it'll show the conversation. So that's a very nice feature to have. So no one in the meeting will miss that your message. So it's very nice. And you do have reactions here. So we didn't have this before. So you can give a thumbs up, or you can upload. So you can send a heart reaction if to someone's comment. You can one important function is raise hand. You can always raise hand if you want to speak or if you have something to ask. That's a very nice feature. So you can upload your colleagues here. So it's nice to have. And then one a really new feature is that we have the breakout rooms. So we didn't have this before. Now we do have the breakout rooms. What you can do is with breakout rooms, you can actually create separate rooms for people to leave and join. So now when I'm trying to create a breakout room, so I can see whom do I want to assign to this particular room. So let's say this is very useful if you are from HR department and then you want to hold some kind of a quiz event with the entire staff. Then if you want to break them into group, you can definitely use the breakout rooms. It's a very nice feature to have. So you can create up to 5 rooms, 10 rooms, anything. You can create and assign a group of people to that individual breakout room. And then once they're done, they can come back to main meeting room and continue the meeting. So it's a nice, very nice collaborative feature that you can use while using Teams meetings. So the next one is I really want to show. Now this is the gallery mode. So I hope that once my colleagues in this particular meeting, once they turn on the video, we can see generally you will have 9 people in the main window. So as the meeting goes on, Microsoft Teams will automatically detect who are the most active people in this meeting, and they will have those 9 people on the gallery and their video. So and also then you have the large gallery. So if you want to view more than 9 people, then definitely you can switch on the large gallery. Then you will have more people. Uh, to be honest, you can have 49 people's video on your screen if you switch to large gallery. So I don't have this option right now because we only have around 6 people in this meeting. But let's say if we had some around probably around 50 people or so, then we can definitely do that. So now I can see our people are switching on the video. So now I can see them, and we do have the together mode. So it's a very nice feature to have. So you can, once you click on the together mode, it will come up in a very nice kind of a auditorium view where your team will be seated next to each other. So you do have option to change the scenes as well. So I have a dark auditorium here. And also you have very different options. You have a board meeting kind of a setting. So it's very nice to have these kind of features. Now you can see different scenes are there. So we can see how they're sitting next to each other. So this is something you can use during a meeting. So you can take a snapshot or with this, it kind of gives the feel that we are really working together. So you do have different scenes in here. You can see. You can change it now. It's kind of a boardroom view. We have people sitting in there. So different views are there. You can definitely use that. So moving on, I will next move on to very cool important function inside Teams. So that is actually Teams phone. So I will just switch my screen. Yes. So now we discussed about the meetings. Now I want to discuss about the Microsoft Teams phone. So first of all, just an overview. Why do we need Microsoft as your phone? Uh, so currently, I think majority of the places they do have a traditional PBX, and they do have IP phones, which are not very mobile, and especially with the current scenario, it's not very practical to use, and it can be costly relying on these hardware options. So what Microsoft Teams brings is your phone inside Microsoft Teams. So your Office phone inside Microsoft Teams. So how you can do this is there are a few technologies available. So I'm not really going to discuss deeply on that. But when you do that, for example, if someone calls our Zillion main number, and if they will get few options on the IVR about products like Microsoft and then Sage, and there are various products that Zillion provides. So you will get that information on the IVR. Let's say if someone select Microsoft, and then the call will be redirected to our sales team. So possibly Lakshan or Ramina will answer that call, and even if they are working from home, they will get that call on their mobile device. So that's the convenient. That's why we need Microsoft Teams as our phone. And let's say if the customer wants to know something very technical, they can simply transfer that call to myself or anyone from our technical team. So they will have that option. It's very easy. Even call from the outside, you get on your teams anywhere, it doesn't matter. And then you can transfer it to anyone within your organization. So that's why Teams is very convenient, especially with the current situation. You can completely switch your phone over to Microsoft Teams, not just your phone, your entire phone system. So now you have the calling option on your menu. And once you have implemented some kind of technology, there are three technologies to be precise. You do have direct calling plans from Microsoft. That means your PSTN provider and everything will be Microsoft. You'll be using their network completely, and you can get credit from them. And then you do have direct routing, which is again, you will have your own telephone provider in the backend, and you will integrate your Teams with that, and then you can use Teams calling. And there's something called Operator Connect, which is very new. So that means entirely your solution will be provided by managed service provider inside Sri Lanka. So your entire infrastructure will be managed by them, but you will have a calling on your Teams. So these are the few technologies. Once you do that, you will get the dial pad in here, and you will have your own number displayed within here. And then you have the access to your voicemails and call history, and you have access to your contacts. So then you'll have manage call and device settings. So all these features traditionally you don't have on a very hardware system. You will have these features inside your Teams phone as well. So make a call with a phone number or a name. So you can call someone inside. You can call using a contact, and then you can call with the number as well. Very convenient, very mobile, very flexible solution with Teams. So as I mentioned, these are some basic features which are available when you adapt your Teams as your phone. So initiate by name or number, call, answer, call, hold, retrieve. So direct invert dialing phone numbers, device switching, distinctive ringtone. So you can have very own ringtone, customized ringtone, federated calling, call other companies. So if you have a vendor or a partner or a customer that you frequently interact with, you can federate the organization with you, so you can directly call them. It's simple as that. And then call history. So there are so many options that whatever you find in a traditional phone system, you'll find it here, and you'll find more. So we have a scenario here, simply transferring calls. Now I said before how if you call our ZILLIOne main number, how it will go to IVR, and then depending on the option you select, how it will automatically transfer to a person. So now let's say Lakshan answers that call, and he wants to transfer that call to myself. So there are two transfer methods, transfer types. We call it blind transfer and consultative transfer. So how do we do that? Blind transfer, simply you answer the call and you transfer the call to that particular person. So this is an example how you can do it. This person is getting the call, and then simply straight away click on transfer, and then type the name. Inside the Teams itself, you can find it, and then transfer the call. It's very easy rather than using a hardware phone or any other phone system. So then again, consultative transfer. Uh, this is different. We can consult the person whom we want to transfer, and then we can transfer the phone. So yeah, you can see consultative transfer, and then select chat, and then you can chat with that person. So you can say that they have a call, if they want to transfer it or not, then you can transfer that. So once if this person say yes, then we'll have the option to transfer. If not, if they say no, okay, I can't answer the call right now, then you do have the option to send it to the voicemail of this particular person. So this is the convenience that you have with Teams calling. So I'll move on to the next one. So Microsoft Teams call history. You do have entire calling history in here, missed calls, incoming calls, voicemails, everything. You have it here. It's very convenient. You can filter them too. And then if you have missed anything, if you want to check your call log, you can completely have it here. Device switching during a call. Let's say you do have a bad device. Sometimes it happens to us. People suddenly say we can't hear us. So if we want to switch to another device, we can definitely do that. Even inside the call, we can definitely do that. And this is why it's really convenient now. This person is with a customer in Teams, and they are using their computer and their personal headset. And this can be done even on your Teams mobile client as well. So escalate calls. So let's say this is very simple how you can add someone to a one-to-one call. You can do that definitely. And also once you adapt Teams as your phone, you can, even if you are inside a meeting, then you can dial someone into this particular meeting as well. And then you do have a call forwarding option. You can forward the calls to a voicemail, a new number, contact, or a call group. So yeah, this is one of my favorite features. I actually have my calls forwarded to my mobile if I'm not answering. So let's say if I miss a call, if I couldn't answer my Teams call, it will be redirected to my mobile number. And even if I don't have internet, I can still pick up that call. I will not miss that call. Then you can forward it to a contact or a call group. Let's say if you're on leave and you want to forward your calls to your team members, you can do that using call forward to a group. Yeah, so this is actually how you can control call forwarding. So don't forward. Now you can simply set it up and go to more settings, forward my calls to voicemail, or you can say new number or a contact. Then you can search for that number or the contact person, and then you can do it. Or else you can select a group in here, and it's really easy. Call forwarded to a group. So this is where you can forward your calls to a group. So now you can see we have forwarded to a group, and that this particular group has few members in there. So setting up call controls in Microsoft Teams client. So you can go to devices, and then yeah, there are few options. So but you want to select delegate calls. So there are few options. We'll discuss them individually. Federated contact are people outside of your organization. So let's say ZILLIOne, we have federated our tenant with a few of our customers as well as Microsoft. So if we want to contact anyone within that organization, we can definitely search for their name, and then we'll be able to see even their available status or the busy status. And I generally do that. So our customers who are using Teams, before I call them, I would generally ping them and have a chat. If you're free or not, then I'll call them using Teams itself, because it's easy. I don't have to remove my headset. I can simply dial from my laptop. So Teams calling using a public switch telephone network. So this is what we talked about before. How if you want to adapt Teams as your phone, you definitely need a PSTN. Uh, it can be provided by Microsoft as well. That's we call Teams calling plan. Otherwise, you can have your own PSTN network and integrate it to your Teams. So this is the external call option. I mean, majority of these functions, the call transferring, the voicemail, call forward, you do not need to integrate to a PSTN. You do have them. But only thing is, if you want to call outside numbers, if you want to forward calls to outside numbers, then you need a PSTN. So Microsoft Teams group call pickup. So When you have a group call pickup option, so people on a particular group will get this incoming call, and one of them can answer. So this is something that we can do. Let's say if someone calls Zillion and they ask for Microsoft, we can forward it to the entire sales team. So you do have the call park option as well if you have set up with the PSTN network. So you can simply park a call, and you can give that particular uh, code to the person who want to retrieve that call within your organization. So this is generally how you get the call, and then you can click on park call, and it will give you a number. Share this code to retrieve the call. So you can copy the call right there, and then you can share that particular code with your colleague, and they can simply pick up the call from the parked line. So easy as that. So it's really convenient. So this person is sending Adley the details, and then they can go to calls, and they can go to parked calls, and they can simply type that number and pick up that call. Shared lines. So now you can have shared lines configured as well. So this is very suitable for kind of a call center environment where you can delegate calls. You can have the call monitoring option. You can see the call queue. So this is very suitable for a call center environment where you have multiple people working on the same call queue. So this is a very useful option over to environment like that. So Microsoft Teams delegation, answering calls on behalf of someone else. Now we can answer calls on behalf of someone else. So let's say one of our CEOs or directors, if they want their secretary to answer calls on behalf of them, they can set it up. They can go to simply their call settings and set up the delegation. So now you can see this Megan is getting a call on behalf of Adele. So you can set it up too. Microsoft Teams delegation, making a call on behalf of someone else. So similarly, you can answer a call on behalf of someone else, and in similar way, you can call on behalf of someone else as well. So you can set it up both ways. You can do it. So this is how you can set up the delegation. So you can go to settings, and then you can go to manage delegates. Yeah, people you support and your delegate, so you can give you access to someone else to answer the call. Yeah, make call, so you can give different permissions in there. So nice feature. If you're on leave or if you're working on something else, you can ask one of your colleagues to simply answer calls. So you can even control delegates for other people. So let's say if you have a person given delegate access to you, you can even control their delegate list. So yeah, people you support, and change call settings. You can change their call settings as well. So yeah, that's it for calling. So before I move forward, I think Ramina will need few minutes in there.
Yes, thank you, Kanchuka, uh, um, for your detailed presentation on your team's features and updates that have been included to Microsoft Teams. All right, then let's go ahead and play a little quiz with exciting gift lined up. My colleague Chamishka will assist me with this event. Chamishka, over to you.
Hi everyone. Good, almost a good afternoon. So I hope everybody could see my screen now. Ramina, confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, Chamishka.
Okay. So in this quiz, all you have to do is log into the quiz using the URL. So I have shared the URL in the chat section, that is in the Q&A section as an announcement. Maybe, to all of you, it will be visible on the right hand side of the chat section. Simply log into the URL and then finish the quiz, and the 3 lucky winners will stand a chance to win 2 Jabra Evolve 230 devices. These devices carry substantive active noise cancellation, and also these devices are the perfect setup for your work from home. And also they will be giving away a Jabra Speak 510 device as well. So stay tuned. Finish the quiz as accurately as fast as possible, and I think after the next session of next round of demo, I will be back with the announcers. Good luck to everyone. Over to you, Ramina.
Thank you, Chamishka. Let's invite Kanchuka to brief on the SharePoint and how its features. Over to you, Kanchuka.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ramina. So let me move on to SharePoint. And yeah, first of all, what I'll do is I'll share my screen. So this is basically the SharePoint home. What we can get when we log into the SharePoint right away. So we can see our set of pages, the sites that we are members of. But now, before I go into session, I want to give you a little thought. Then you can think about it. So we do have SharePoint. We do have OneDrive too. Almost they have the similar capabilities, but different purposes. So we'll discuss about in a while why we do have OneDrive, why do have we have SharePoint, and when we want to use OneDrive, when do we want to use SharePoint. So with that, now SharePoint, this is a very key component within Office 365, and generally people consider Teams as well as Office emails and Outlook are really important components, and SharePoint is as important as Microsoft Teams as well as Outlook. Why you can completely use SharePoint as your intranet website. So you can completely use SharePoint as a replacement for your traditional on-premise file server. And it has much better options, much better collaborative options. So you can definitely improve on that once you move to SharePoint as your main file server. And in addition to that, you can use it as your intranet as well. You can customize it. You can have various pages, various sites in that, and then you can use it as your SharePoint. You can publish your news, upcoming events, all the news that internal people want to know. So you can replace your traditional intranet with your SharePoint. So first of all, I'll just share my screen. How do you want to use SharePoint? So yeah, I hope my screen is visible to you.
Yes, Kanchuka.
Yeah, so now you can see in this general quick access on the panel, I have some folders uh, that are synchronized with my computer. So now if I want to share a document, I mean, you might think I have to go to my SharePoint and upload. No, if I want to really save a document, I will create a one here. So I'll get a blank new document and I will type some contents in here. So what I'll do is now I want to save this. I will browse. So yeah, now I can directly select my SharePoint, whatever the folder. So I'm going to save this in the technical team, and yep, it's done. Now anyone inside that technical team can have access to this particular document. So it's really easy. You don't have to really worry about sharing. And now I'm going to open an Excel workbook, and yeah, I'm going to put some information in here. So, and then I'm going to save it. So save, browse again. I'm going to save this technical team and save the particular document. So it says exist, so I will replace. Now, the key part is now anyone in the technical team will be able to access this particular document. But only this particular document I want to share with one of our business managers as well. So what I'll do is I'll just share it with Ricab. He's not a part of our technical team, but I still want to share this document. So I'm not going to share the entire folder, just this particular document I'm going to share with Ricab. So the link will be sent to him, and once he opens it, I will get notified. So this is how convenient SharePoint is. You can simply save your documents onto your computer, and it will synchronize automatically. And you can easily create a page and then manage people, manage access in the SharePoint itself. So if I go here, so I have 5 members here. So if I click on that, it will show me 5 members. So I'm a owner, so I can actually add more people in here, and then they'll also have access to this particular site, and they'll be able to access the documents, and they'll be able to do the changes as well. So now previously I asked you, you have SharePoint, you have OneDrive. So why do we have these two applications separately? So OneDrive is your personal storage, whatever the material you use for your daily purposes, or as a backup, you can use OneDrive. So for example, if I have some personal guidelines while I'm doing a session, if I have some templates that I only myself will use, I'll probably have them in my OneDrive. So let's say, but if the customer proposals that I have provided, I can't have that on my OneDrive. I will have it on SharePoint inside our technical team documents. Because if someday if I leave the company, or if I move into a different place, all these documents will be gone with my OneDrive, or else IT administrator have to go through that worry of backing up all the data in there and getting it back into someone else. So we don't need to do that. If we have it on SharePoint, it doesn't matter. Uh, Simply someone else who comes into the position can go to IT administrator and ask them to make the owner, make them the owner of that particular site. Then you do have access. So that's the main difference between OneDrive and SharePoint. So SharePoint is the one you want to traditionally use as your file server. So if you have an on-prem file server, we can help you with migrating to SharePoint. So it's much more convenient, much more modern. So you can have access to your documents anywhere. So something happened before I had a session with one of our customers. Suddenly in the morning, my laptop broke down and I had to get a replacement laptop. But luckily, everything I had done last night, I had on my SharePoint and my OneDrive. So I simply logged into it and got my documents. If I would have had them on my laptop, would have been in a big trouble. But luckily, I had them on my SharePoint and OneDrive. So within any device, I can simply access them. It's easy as that. Uh, so you can sync your documents, so you don't have to worry about uploading them into OneDrive. So you do have the upload option, but you can simply synchronize the folders and do it. So this and one thing I want to show you more is that the SharePoint. So if I go to Yep. SharePoint. So I just want to show you how an sample intranet can look like. So when you go in here, yeah, you have your groups, and then you can click on topic center, or I will click on this landing page. Yeah, so this is how your SharePoint can look like. Up to this level, you can customize it. So you can see how detailed information are there inside your SharePoint. So you can bring your SharePoint if you are using it as an intranet up to this level, no problem. And we can also help you with that on creating the content and helping you out on your SharePoint transition journey. And also, in addition to being your intranet, as I mentioned before, you can completely replace your existing on-premise file server environment with SharePoint as well. So you do have the convenience of access from anywhere, and you do have the security controls if you want. Then you can definitely implement security. They can definitely control access. So it's very secure and very convenient to use SharePoint as your file server as well as your intranet. So you already have these licenses within your E1 or E3 or Business Standard or Business Basic. Any Office 365 license, you have SharePoint. So why not use it? Use it. You have so many features in there. You can replace your existing traditional systems, and without almost I mean, without any additional cost. So that's the benefit of SharePoint. So meantime, so I'll wind up the session. So we are almost close to 1 hour. So I'll hand over to uh, Lakshan for the final note. Before that, I think we do have an announcement to make. So yeah,
Yes, Kanchika, thank you. Let me invite Chamishka to announce the winners. Chamishka, over to you.
Yes, everyone. So I think we have got a lot of responses, but it looks like people have forgotten to key in their name. So we will give a little more time to see if people insert their names. So we have a winner right now who is back, everyone. I think I am visible to everyone.
Yes,
Right.
Chamishka.
Right. So we have the three winners. So the first winner is Minoli Pereira. Congratulations, Minoli. And second is Madhuranga Chandrasena. And all three of you have gotten 100 out of 100. And the third is Siddharth from Mesh. Right. So Minoli, Madhuranga, and Siddharth, please send us your contact number so for us to get in touch with you, or maybe the email in the chat section as a private message. You can send it to us, and we will get in touch. So Minoli and Madhuranga will be the winners for the Jabra Evolve 230 device, the exciting headset, and Siddharth will be walking away with the Jabra 510. So good luck, everyone, and over to you, Ramina.
Thank you, Chamishka. So with that, we will go ahead and take some time for questions. Please do feel free to type in the chat box to relay your questions, and we'll be happy to help to clarify matters for you.
to our final. So this is actually the next upcoming session. We'll be discussing on work from anywhere and security. So when we are working from anywhere, security is really important. So we'll discuss about how you can work from anywhere and collaborate effectively, as well as securing your environment. So this is the upcoming webinar and the next event from ZILLIONe. So with that, I'll hand over to Lakshan to have the final comments.
Sure. So good afternoon, all. So first, I would like to thank our CEO, Mr. Kanchan Silva, and Director Sujan Suresh, and our General Manager Infas, and all management team who's given us the opportunity to conduct this event. And then I would like to thank Microsoft team, starting with Ashik, Abdul, Chintaka, Irshad, and Sahan for helping us and represent Microsoft Sri Lanka on this event. So and never forget Imal and Jabra team who provided wonderful Jabra merchandisers for you, Vinas, and especially want to thank the team behind of this success event, starting from Rikab, Ramina, Kanchuka, Chamishka, Lakkana, Sandali, Tanvir, and the rest of the team. We really appreciate your effort. And finally, we do. I would really be thankful to you as our valued customers for participating in this event with such a busy schedule. And then goodbye, and hope to see you all next event soon. Cheers and stay safe. Thank you.
Lakshan, and that wraps up the demonstration of Microsoft Teams. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thank you again for joining us today, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.